So why is having a role model important? It, in my view, is absolutely essential because it enables you to almost talk to yourself. You can talk to your role model. I have, and I've advocated this for years, I have a role model. I've never admitted to anybody who it is. I never would do. And I say to people, you should have your own role model, dead, alive, real, fiction, it doesn't matter. And this is the person you bounce things off to when you're unsure, feeling uncomfortable. And okay, I've added a few for different scenarios over the years. But one person who you respect, whose opinions and attitudes you respect, and when you're in a corner you say, would they do this? Would they get out of it this way? And if your answer is no, then you've answered your own question without causing yourself any embarrassment. And I used to talk a lot with my dad. Actually, no, I didn't talk a lot. I did talk with my dad. But I found in the first few years, and I was only 40 when he died, I found in the first few years after his death, I'd be thinking something through in my head, and I'd suddenly hear him throwing his Tupsworth in. And I'd go, "No, you're mad, Dad." "Oh God, thanks for that one. That one's good." But yeah, it's just important to have a role model. They're almost the yardstick by which you judge yourself. So looking back to influences on life and role models and things, I was unbelievably lucky. As a kid born after the war, I had a great-grandfather. Not many people did. He died in the 50s and his 90s. He worked in the London docks until he was 84. And in those days, you had to queue twice a day to sign on. Gandhi never queued long, and I come back to why he's called Gandhi. Gandhi never queued long because he worked, and that gene is in the self's body. It works. And I used to sit with him by the River Thames for hours. And he'd tell me stories, half of which I didn't believe. One I didn't believe, which of course is absolutely true, is that his grandfather told him how he used to skate on the River Thames for 3 months every year. The area we now know as between roughly Blackfriars Bridge and Southwark Bridge used to freeze, and it was only post 1812 when the London Bridge, before the current one that we flogged to the Yanks, is in the Arizona desert, and they thought they'd built Tower Bridge. When that was built, the river was banked on the south bank. That changed the tidal flow and it never froze again. But you can imagine me, a little kid, sitting there thinking, yeah, he skated on the River Thames. He'd also told me of how at work every day, he watched them build Tower Bridge when he was working in the Port of London, which opened in 1896. It took 12 years. And 1896 was significant because that's when his youngest, my grandfather, was born. And so he would tell me all these stories, but he couldn't read, he couldn't write, but he instilled things in me. If you've done your best, I won't put a South London accent all the way through it, but if you've done your best, young Davy boy, be proud. If it wasn't good enough, well, so be it. You have done your best. If you've breezed it without making any effort, don't get cocky. I mean, that was not right. And the other thing is, the hand you've got is a good one, so play it. It's the only one you've got. Don't go saying it's not fair, I want this, I want that. Play with it. And I recently was involved in the World Polio Day and met Jonathan Cavendish, who produced the film Breathe, which is about his father and the experiences he had with polio. And I've forgotten her name, we'll have to say, look it up and dub this bit, who was born in a mud hut in Nigeria. And when she was 2.5, her mother died of polio, and she was diagnosed with polio. And her father said, look, books, you've got to learn. And they got out of the hut in the village, went to the town, and she came to the UK and got married, had children. Wasn't happy. A lot of girls suffer this stuff. Wasn't happy that she was losing her pregnancy weight quick enough, so went to a gym. The guy at the gym said, have you ever thought of paraplegic athletics? She's represented Britain since 2008 now. the incredible energy those two brought is indescribable. But there was no, it's not fair. There was no, why me? Totally positive. I got to Victoria afterwards for my train and we were told it was 10 minutes late. And 90% of the people standing on the platform, it's 11 o'clock at night, were going, well, this isn't fair. Why our train? And this contrast was so vivid that, so your train's 10 minutes late going home. You're not going to be home till gone midnight anyway. As against these two people who'd experienced really, really things. And that took me back to what Gandhi had taught me. And why is he called Gandhi? At some point, one of the grandchildren couldn't say granddad. And it became Gandhi. It stuck. His mates in the docks called him Gandhi. And he got me into trouble. He was dead at the time. At school, Miss Johnson was lecturing us. She was lecturing us. She wasn't teaching us. She wasn't telling us. She wasn't talking to us. She was lecturing us. On Tower Bridge. And I said, no, miss, you're wrong. I said, Tower Bridge. It's a giant Meccano outfit with stone stuck on the outside. And she said, no, it isn't. I said, yes, it is. No, it isn't. I finished up standing on a table in the corner, facing the wall. So when Mum came to get me, I'd have been about 8 or 9. She said, oh, you're in trouble again. I said, well, yeah, but it's not my fault, Mum. David Robert John, you know you're in trouble when you get all 3 names. I said, it wasn't my fault. So I told her what happened. And of course, Gandhi was my father's grandfather. So she said, oh, I don't know. I'll have to ask your father. When Dad got home, I was in bed. So she told him, she said, how's Tower Bridge built? He said, John Meccano outfit, stones stuck on the outside. How do you know that? Gandhi told me. Almost worked perfect. And so she told him what had happened. And now I, of course, had never heard of this bloke on the other side of the world who wore a sheet. Never heard of him, why would you? 8-year-old kid in London. And Mum went to school the next day and told the teacher. So the teacher was forced to apologise to me in class. And I was quite a hero. So Gandhi's always been he's not my secret one, obviously, but he's always been a role model because, okay, lots of laughs, but those 2 basic things. Play the hand you got, don't moan about it, and do your best. And you know, you won't go far wrong.